right, everybody. Welcome back to the Bike Pack Adventures podcast. And today I have with me Mike Lowry, creator of the Alberta Bikepacking Collective. Is that the right word to use? I'm not even sure.
I created a Facebook page, so I don't know if I'd go so far.
Creator of a
A
Facebook page.
group. Obviously, there's a lot of bike pack collectives in Canada, and it was kind of riffed off the guys that started, or the individuals that started the Vancouver Island Bike Pack Collective. So I kind of got the inspiration from it. I think it was not last year's, but the year before, buckshot race. The night before, everyone, well, not everyone, but a large group, about 20 or so, kind of went to a restaurant pub and just kind of hung out. And granted, like, Megan Hakkinen was there and a bunch of other really top competitors when it comes to bike pack racing were there, but there was just a lot of other people, and it was really cool just to, because you might say hi at the start of the race and then you'll never see the person. And as was my case, like, I was getting a hotel when Megan was finishing the race. So, so I just kind of thought, like, oh yeah, it'd be great. We have a lot of, I would say, a pretty decent group in Edmonton, and there's folks down in Calgary and the rest of the province. So, and having had the Alberta Rockies race here too, like, there's a lot of like membership to pull from. I felt like, so. I don't know. There's a lot of other people that are involved in it now too. So I wouldn't say like I'm the.
Yeah, as it grows, it kind of like becomes its own monster, right?
Yeah, and I don't want to be I don't know. I don't want to be the sole proprietor of something and just let it go be its thing.
Yeah, fair enough. We have a bikepacking collective here in Ottawa, and it's I don't know, man. Like, it's not nearly as active as I would like. It's like, it is a Facebook page, and I do see posts on it, but it doesn't have that same feel. Like, I don't know. It doesn't, like, I don't see people organizing. And I mean, I know you're gonna say is like, just be the one, Chris. Organize. But I do a lot of organizing, and I just want to get out and ride with people, and I don't know if I have the time or the energy to like really suss everything out all the time. So I don't know. But yeah, I'd love to see it grow here in Ottawa as well. It'd be nice to have the bikepacking collective be more active. Yeah. Maybe I have to rename Canadian Shield to the Canadian Shield Bikepacking Collective.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of like good ways around it. Like, it kind of, we 2 years ago on September long weekend, we did a trip. I think even Miles Arbor's made it a route now where it goes from Castlegar, basically does a loop. I think he has it starting in Nelson, but starting in Castlegar and going all the way down to Roslyn and across into Christina Lake and going back up, like some of it on the BC Epic route. And so we kind of just opened it up. Like myself, Darren Madley, and a couple others. And so we had a pretty good turnout. I think we had about 8 people show up for it. And then they did their own, like, they did it again this September long weekend, and kind of in the same area of Nelson. I mean, it's kind of funny, like Alberta Bike Pack Collective, but we're bikepacking in BC, but
riding in BC, right?
Yeah. But yeah, it's so it's kind of grown, and even a small group went off to Moab in I think it was April of last year for a week.
Very cool.
So yeah, there's, and like, it kind of stems from like the local events around here with like the Buckshot and the BC Epic and the Lost Elephant. So the Lost Elephant.
Yeah, like, I wanted, man. There was one summer I almost made it out to BC. I thought we were gonna drive, and it was like, as we were planning, fuel prices just went, and we drive diesel. It went freaking insane. It was like $2.70 a liter or something, and we're like, we're not gonna go west. Like, that's it.
And the guys that do the Lost Elephant are like, there's just a huge community. And I haven't been able to make it. Like, the last 2 years I've intended to ride it and haven't done it, but but yeah, that's definitely high on my list. And now they're doing a winter.
And it's very much more of a mountain
Oh
bikepacking
yeah,
route,
yeah.
right? Like from what I've read, it's like it is.
It's definitely not something. It's interesting. It's not something that
You're
should
not
be.
going to do it with 40
Yeah,
cc 40C
yeah,
tires,
yeah.
right?
Well, and I think those that did it last year were on 40cc tires were very. They weren't very happy. But yeah, it's very much
Yeah,
a
you got to
mountain
be.
bike race, and it's very much like they pride themselves on it being hard and not like there is bushwhack. There is
Yeah.
like there's a few people that have done videos on it from the last year. So last year's was I think just over 400 kilometers with 10,000 meters of climbing. So
Okay.
if you finished it, I think in 36 hours, you would have qualified for an Everest Rome. And then like the heat that weekend was
But
like
don't you have to finish isn't an Everest have to be under 24 or it's not?
because this is an Everesting Rome, so it's like you've
I
done
don't even know what that means.
400 kilometers with elevation of like Everest. So I don't know all the
Yeah.
that yeah,
Okay.
that's
Wild.
so far out of my
Yeah. I know that here in the Ottawa Valley, there is like there's the big randonneur groups, and there's a route here in Ottawa that is 400 kilometers in the Lanark Highlands with 8,000 meters. I think it's 300 or 400. It might be 400, but with 8,000 meters of climbing. And I was like, and it's like a lot of like out and backs
yeah,
and like hitting up different areas, but it just looks awful.
yeah, painful. Yeah. But yeah,
Yeah. Give me 1 second here. I gotta run into my garage real quick and turn off. Actually, fuck it. The heaters are on, but
okay.
like they're
You
big
can
like
hear it, yeah.
ceiling heaters.
Yeah,
I can hear it, but I'm hoping this thing cuts it out.
yeah.
Whatever. Anyways, yeah, I should say before we get rolling here too far that this is not an interview of Mike Lowry. This is a episode 7 of the Unpacking Bikepacking series. So I actually asked Mike if he wants to jump into a call and just literally shoot the shit about bikepacking and things that we're doing and gear we're using and all that fun stuff for between 1 and 10 hours, and then we'll just call it a day. So at some point we'll definitely get him back in here and find out his whole story. But yeah, let's do this. And if anybody's wondering, I am catching a cold, and so I'm drinking a big thermos of tea. And yeah, I'd rather be drinking beer.
This is a tall boy of tea.
It's a tall boy of tea. Fair enough. There you go. All right. So yeah, Mike, awesome to have you here. We've known each other for, well, the better part of a year now, right?
Yep.
Getting to know each other, and it's a good community. And yeah, first thing, I know you are way more dedicated than me when it comes to training. So I know I sent you my little Cole's notes of what we'll talk about.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about your planning and training and what you do and how things have been going?
So after the BC Epic, I kind of took a pause on everything. And then I would say September long weekend ish time, I started back just kind of slowly riding again, trying to find so yeah, BC Epic would have been I'd say beginning of July. But yeah, so
Okay.
September long weekend ish time, I kind of got back on the bike, just riding, not anything really too major. And then I've always played soccer, so I kind of took that back up again, just trying to do stuff different. And it's still riding a little bit here and there, like to work and whatnot. But so the last 2 months, I've just been doing like a base fitness program. So I use a program called fitnessblender.com. It's actually been pretty good. I've used it for the last, I want to say maybe 10 or 12 years. And it's like it started off as just like a husband and wife doing basically like YouTube video workouts, kind of designed if you lived in a condo. So like minimal weights and everything like that. Most of it HIIT style workouts, and their platforms just kind of similar to like dynamic cyclists. Like their platforms just kind of evolved over time. So I just I'm doing their 8-week boot camp type thing, just to get some like base. I wouldn't even say base fitness, just kind of some base strength back in, and then come next week I'll be starting. So I have Kurt Refsnyder's 6-month bike packing program that he offers. That
How does it work? Is it just comes in as like a PDF or something,
yeah,
or
yeah, you buy it as a PDF.
yeah?
So it's a big manual, kind of like starts from like if you've never heard of what FTP is, it kind of spells everything out for
Okay.
you.
Yeah, yeah.
And then
I was actually considering it. Like I knew he had that out there, and I was
yeah,
like, oh, I wonder if this is a logical step.
it would be nice just from a like I think for people that procrastinate, it would be nice if like it was actually made into like a Training Peaks platform, so it just loads into your calendar and you don't even have to think about it.
Yeah, that would be ideal.
But yeah, so at the end of it, it has the training log, and I think what's great about that is that there's 2 levels. So there's for like the serious athlete or like the more younger athlete, and then there's one for like the
And then like the masters.
yeah, well, it is called the Masters, but like it's funny because like I kind of like caught myself laughing about it. Like, I mean, I'm turning 39, so I'm not far from it anymore. Like, so yeah,
Is masters 40 or what?
I think it's 45 they call it, but I
I
think
think it's 45.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm not a masters yet. Like not there 4 months, and I will be.
yeah.
But
But like, but more importantly, it's like more of like, can you handle the stress of like 6 to 9 hours of structured training a week, or can you
yeah,
handle? I think it's 12 to 15 if you're on the. I think they coin it elite,
right.
but it's
That's a lot of hours, man.
yeah, yeah. So even then,
So which one are you doing?
I'm gonna do the level 2, the like the masters.
That's no.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I
Yeah.
think like so last year with the structured training I was doing, because I was on Dynamic Cyclist last year, and they actually have like training platforms in or like training plans in Dynamic Cyclist. So
Yeah.
I was doing those, and I've found it to be quite beneficial. Like I
Okay.
think the one that where it says like the Grand Fondo, like training for your first Grand Fondo, I think is a great tool to use, like to get used to. I think it's just stacking like miles up day after day after day after day.
And does that have like? I haven't even looked through it that closely, but like, does it have rides and stuff in there with like interval
Yeah.
training and like it's a video you follow? Or?
Well, it will put you to like if you click in the Dynamic Cyclist app, it'll take you to it's like a hidden feature in Training Peaks. So then it loads that training onto your Training
Interesting.
Peaks
Okay.
calendar. So if you use Zwift,
That's funny because I didn't even know it had that. So like I've been using Dynamic Cyclist, and that's what I was going to talk about. Is like my training is I'm trying to get back into it more, but I'm really just focused on the strength and flexibility. Right,
Yeah.
like I'm doing the calendar with basically 7 days a week. Some days mixes in strength. Some days every day is stretching though.
Yeah.
I feel as a 4 months from being a masters type athlete, maybe the flexibility is where I need to just put some effort. And then I'm using Trainer Road. I'll try it out for this winter. I liked it last year. I like that AI intuitive, like automatically adjusts after every exercise, after every like training session based on how you do. And
yeah, and it like adapts. Yeah. So I was on Zwift last year, and it didn't really integrate that great the dynamic cycling program that I had into Zwift. It was kind of kludgy, but I'm interested to see what that like Rovi and Trainer Road. I was kind of interested in that too. So
I tried Ruvi or whatever you call it last year. I bought like one of the, like you get that first month free or 2 weeks free, I think it was. And I set it up for myself and my brother-in-law, and I was using it and I was like, you know what? I don't know. I wasn't that keen on it, but I see they got a lot of ads out on it right now, man. There's so many ads popping up about Ruvi, and it's like all these, I don't know, famous triathletes or famous like road cyclist athletes like promoting it. And I'm like, well, clearly they're pushing out the money to try to get like sales.
Yeah. But I mean,
Um,
Swift is almost $30 a month now. So
it's
yeah.
expensive. Yeah.
So
I think Trainer Road's similar. It's like 20
Yeah.
US dollars.
Yeah.
Like it's 20, 21 US dollars. And I was like, well, I only use it in the off season.
Yeah.
Ideally, I mean, there's a place you could rationalize using it all year because it's going to take, you can actually, it'll automatically upload your offline or off, like, you know, on the road rides.
Mhm.
But I don't know. Haven't decided if I'll do that.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to get a power meter then. I don't know.
I was playing around with, because I bought a Garmin 1040 at the start. Well, not at the start of the year, like start of spring, because I lost my Wahoo. So the Garmin coach.
Well, it's good to have two anyways. One in the house on the trainer and one outside on the bike. That
Yeah. So yeah, the Garmin coach, like they have a training platform. Actually, wasn't that bad. Like you put in your event, the date of your event, and the kilometers, and it just kind of like builds out a program for you. So
No, interesting. Yeah. I've been well, we'll talk. Yeah, I've been thinking about the 1050, and I'm like, I know it doesn't have the same battery life.
Yeah.
Which is always kind of a hit when you're like, if you're thinking in the bike packing mindset where you're like, well, I don't want to have to charge.
Yeah.
Like it's one less thing to deal with if it's going to last for like multiple days, right?
Yeah. The 1040 solar.
Or if you go with the 1040.
Yeah, that like I thought it was, when they released it, I kind of felt like it was a bit of a gimmick. And the thing, I didn't charge it once on the Epic. It was great. Like,
Yeah.
And I think I probably had about 40% left. I mean, who knows how it will do this winter, but
yeah, that's a great. Well, I mean, we're just jumping into gear, whatever, but it doesn't matter. I don't care what order we talk about things, but that's cool. You know, I was thinking about the solar, and I know my buddy Carl, he's got the solar, and he was like, you know what though, for the extra $100, I would just spend 200 and get the Garmin power pack that goes underneath instead.
Yeah.
He's like, because you'll get way more charges. And he's like, you know what? Sometimes solar's, it's not really doing much if it's cloudy or overcast, unless it's a hot, sunny day.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah. It's a good, what do you think? You use the solar, right?
Yeah.
So
I'm kind of one, like, unless it's an event, I don't really pay much attention to like my electronics and the charge and stuff that they're on. So for the 1040 solar, it was like for my training rides outside or whatever, it was kind of nice. I could kind of always it would sit on my bike shop bench and I could just grab it and put it on, and could always trust that there was something left in it. And I think with it having the US,
it's like set it and forget
exactly,
it.
yeah. And it has the USB-C fast charging on it. So I don't know. I mean, do I use all the features of it? Like, I think you can get the solar version in the 540 and 840 too. So if you're not going to use all the features of it, then there's like more cost effective. But then there's now that Chorus 2 or something. Will go like
there's a whole bunch, man. Even and the Hammerhead 3 that they don't want to, or the Karoo 3, which they don't want to call that because they think it sounds like KKK. So they're like just the Karoo. It looks pretty awesome too. I mean, but it's the thing you get there is like the battery life is kind of weak, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm wondering if they're going to wait like a year and they're going to come out with like a 1050 solar and it'll get like 25 hours and you'll be like, this is it. Yeah. This is the piece of kit.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe.
I just want to compensate for like my other deficiencies by having a big Garmin.
Yeah. Maybe they'll make their wearable the size of the Garmin. So you can wear it on your wrist.
You have to just tuck it down your pants though. Yeah. Anyways, for myself, like training wise, I mean, I feel like the e-bike this year and moving forward is my low zone stuff. So what I've really thought about is with Trainer Road, I'm actually going to only do 3 training rides a week of about an hour and 15 ish. With the idea that if I keep it low like that, it makes them all interval training. And those are like my those are my intervals where every day the riding to work will be my endurance, whatever. That's my thought plan there. And then dynamic cyclist for some core strength, stretching.
Yeah, the dynamic.
And I'm hoping to be more serious on it because you know what? Honestly, I'm getting fatter and fatter every year. I get towards that masters category, and I got to sort this out before it's gets prohibitively difficult.
Yeah, I will say, like when I was on the dynamic cyclist, like I found the stretching programs to be quite good. Like I did have at the time, I did at the start of my training, I did have like a bit of a knee issue and a bit of an IT band problem. And yeah, like you can get very like local programs. Like I think they have a 3-month knee program. They have a 4-month IT band program. So it's just all the things. It ends up just becoming too much money. So some things got to go.
Yeah. I know it all adds up, right? Yeah, I know when Megan was here, when like living at my house, she was here for like a month, I think. When she was here a couple of years ago, she every day, man, I'd come downstairs and she'd be doing her stretching or her workout. Like she was on the dynamic cyclist, and she's like, "You just got to make time, Chris." And I was like, I know, but I'm just gonna eat this bag of chips instead, you know? Like,
yeah. There's the one.
That's pretty awful.
There's one exercise they have. It's for your TFL, where you take a lacrosse ball and you put it. Oh man, I didn't even think there was a muscle there, and when I did it, it was.
Where do you put it?
It's like on your hip socket on the front. There's like a little center portion. It's like it's real small. Oh, you'll know when you get the lacrosse ball in there and you roll it.
Okay.
And yeah,
I have a lacrosse ball here. My old housemate made me buy one. Yeah.
It's that's a pretty I don't know. I think you forget how all that, like you're just doing one motion over and over again, and the issues that it'll tend to create elsewhere.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
It's I mean, I've used them with lacrosse ball like through my back and stuff as well. I was dealing with some like SI joint issues, and like just rolling it into the right places, man, that will trigger. Like that little thing is brutal. Yeah, have you been experimenting with any new gear or anything like that?
No, not particularly. Like I've got the fat bike finally rolling.
Oh, nice. Do you guys have snow?
Yeah, we have a good amount of
We
snow.
don't.
No.
It's all gone now. It's like I went biking with LP, Louis Philippe Landry, a few days ago, and then it started raining, and now it's just like almost nothing.
Yeah.
It's gone.
Yeah, I mean, we had some pretty big dumps end of November, middle of December, and then we had a bit of rain. But yeah, we still have we still have a decent amount of snow. It's all hard packed now, but I hadn't got the bike rolling. December was pretty busy, but just messing around with wheels, having issues with sealant and all that stuff. So
my fat bike, man, the back tire, I gotta, you know, the problem is I have to just take the valve out and add some sealant because it's got a very slow leak somewhere. And I think it's just because the sealant that's in there is dried up, and fat bike tires are kind of porous and they're going to leak at some point. Right. Yeah. And, I just never do it though. I just top it up and I go for a ride and think it's whatever, okay. I'll fix it tomorrow. But
yeah, so I use,
I
don't know if you've seen them, the fatty strippers. They're like the
latex man, I'm all about the fatty strippers, and I'm not talking about the the ones on the Quebec side strip clubs.
Yeah, they're good, but yeah, my wheels kind of been sitting for a year, so yeah,
same with me. Front one was great. Back one's got a bit of a not holding air for multiple days. Anyways, no, it's funny. It's such a freaking weird name, fatty strippers, but it's kind of like warm showers, right?
Yeah,
it's kind of if you're not in the industry, you're like, what is that all about?
Yeah, and then they have they have them for skinny tires, like what is it, skinny strippers? They have them. Yeah, mountain bike tires.
They're really great though. They're amazing if you don't, as long as you're not taking your tires
Yeah.
on and off, like for some reason,
Yeah.
because then, but they do come with 2 sets in a bag, so it's good. Like they're,
Yeah.
um,
But you can order them direct.
yeah, I've been using them
from
since.
a guy in Edmonton.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. There's a guy in Edmonton.
what does he do? Order a whole bunch?
Yeah, his name's Jay. He's his business is called Odalus Incorporated, and yeah, he has a representation with those guys, so he carries fatty strippers.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I've known about I've known about him for a while. I just didn't know he was out of Edmonton, but I knew that Odalus was in Canada. Anyways,
great dude.
Yeah, he's got like some great little distribution of products that aren't picked up by like huge distributors that have like, take everything. You know?
Like his lights that he carries for outbound lights are, I mean, if you're not in the, if you're not in the market for like a dynamo setup, I would say that'd be the lights to use with him.
Yeah, I use Magic Shine, but I was at Dismount Cycles in Toronto one day, and they have outbound, and I was like, look at them, they're nice, like they look great. Yeah. Anyway. But Magic Shine's good too. So who am I saying? I mean, it doesn't matter. It's not like I'm sponsored by Magic Shine. I'm just
I'm not sponsored.
Not bad,
but
it's good.
Jay's a great guy. So
cool.
Mm-hmm. But yeah,
nice. Outbound, and
I haven't really been testing anything, but I've for the last 2 years, I've sworn off a front handlebar roll until Tailfin released their handlebar roll system, and that definitely made me consider introducing it again.
I actually sent them an email, and I was like, well, I never thought I'd want to ride it with a handlebar roll again, but like, guys have done something, and I'm like, I would love to try one out. And
the post strike's over.
See, yeah, that's right. Well, we'll see if he replies to me after the holidays, but and they got that new long top tube bag, which looks really good too. So
so that would kind of be the only.
I know that.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
Something
that you want to try out, right?
Yeah, that kind of is the one spot. But I don't know how it would work with my handlebar system. It's kind of a funky system. So it's the Ren Perseverance bar. So I don't think it'd actually work with it.
I don't know what it looks like.
It's like a straight handlebar, but then it's got the arrow loop in the front. That's like it's all integrated into the handlebar.
Is it a mountain bike bar? It's a flat bar?
Yeah. And they have a drop bar version.
Nice. Yeah. I think what they see when I look at their, and this was something I told Redshift, is like, you have made the loop handlebar UCI compliant. It doesn't extend past the drops, like that kind of thing, but it doesn't really fit the needs of bike packers, like it fits the needs of a racer maybe, but it's just missing that one bit, and that's like something to curve it up. Now, I know a guy in Montreal, he was on the podcast not long ago. He's supposed to send me some pictures, actually. He put a couple add-ons onto the end of his to make them so they come up higher and make it, rise up, kind of like the Perseverance bar. So it'd be interesting to see. Mm-hmm. Anyways, how do you like that handlebar?
It's pretty good. I wish I had a little bit more stack height on my bike, just to be a little. So because if I do, because I do have like, you can get pads, like arrow pads, to put on the center of the bar, so then you can use it. Like,
does Ren make them themselves? Or?
Yeah. So I have those. Cool. But I'm just a little bit too hunched over. It could just also be like my setup too. That's something I want to try to improve on, because I'm not getting it's not super comfortable going arrow.
Oh yeah, if you're bent over so much for like multiple hours at a time, or ideally anyways, like
it's not just like that. You're just kind of like not even.
Yeah, because you can't really put risers, because then you'll be like hunched in a really weird way, right? So you kind of have it all level, which is low. And so what do you use for a front bag? Like, what do you
actually,
what do you use when
nothing? So I actually had Ty Dahman make me a bag that fits in that loop.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and yeah, it's awesome. Love having it.
Yeah, because it's a nice size loop too. It's got like there's a good amount of space there,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. So it's just like it basically takes all my food or whatever that would normally occupy in the frame bag, like the extra stuff, just goes in there, and then so it can kind of just go from there into my top tube bag and then into me. Um, yeah, it's a pretty handy little
Straight
bag.
to the body.
Yeah.
Have you ever used like any of the roll top bags as opposed to like your handlebar bags that are, stuff bags?
No, no.
I mean, they don't integrate very well with the Ren Perseverance bar
Yeah.
anyways.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, that's the one issue that I'm like, I foresee. Like I've used one on a fat bike trip where I didn't need aero bars. I mean, how often do you need aero bars on a fat bike? Probably never.
Yeah.
Because it's too fucking cold without pogies. And
someone will make a pogie for the aero bar.
I was thinking about that. I'm like, I should design
I'm
one.
sure Doug Coldbike will make one for you.
Yeah, I was actually thinking I should invite him to do an Unpacking Bikepacking episode just on winter stuff.
Yeah.
Only talk winter.
It'll just be one big sleeve. So all your hands go in there.
He's a dude. Have you met him?
Not in real life, but we've chatted quite a bit. Yeah.
And he's got that new what's the new fat bike called? The Moonlander or something?
Yeah, with the priority drivetrain.
It's massive. What a thing, man. It's a beast.
Yeah.
Yeah, so man, I've been using electronic shifting this past year. Have you used it at all?
Yeah, no. That's my next, because I couldn't grip anything for like 2 months after the BC Epic. And that's something that I've wanted to, like, as I slowly build up another bike, would be the next big purchase I would make, is that. But yeah,
what are you thinking about building up? And does your wife know already?
Oh, she knows. Yeah. I don't know. I want something titanium, I think. And I've been kind of going between the Esker Hayduk, or the Esker Hayduk LVS, or the Revel Wayward, or the Revel El Jefe. Or
okay, and how do they differentiate?
So like the Esker LVS is like that long mid-tail hardtail. It's what JP DeVary was riding before he got hit on the Great Divide Unearthed. So it's like it's kind of based off of the Salsa back burrow. So it's that like long tail. And then like they're all hard tails. It's just the Revel Wayward can accommodate a bigger tire. It's kind of meant more for adventure riding. So it has rack mounts and stuff on it, and more mounts. And then the Revel El Jefe was kind of built with Jefe Branham for the Colorado Trail Race and the Arizona Trail Race and those. So it's kind of his like signature ride. So it's kind of mainly more focused on racing. So it doesn't have rack mounts or anything like that. So but it does have.
Yeah, tough. I'd probably go for option on to having the mounts just in case. But
yeah, so
I mean, it does seem like there's I don't know if it started with Tailfin in some ways, but like maybe not. Maybe it's Old Man Mountain and some of the companies making racks that hook through to your axles, right? So they can actually take a beating. But it seems like we've gone full circle back to people using racks and micro panniers instead of just like ass rockets.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting.
When
I was first building out a setup, it was like I had to have the seat bag. I didn't want a rack. It was kind of like, it's like, nah, didn't look as cool. And now I have a rack.
Yeah, and I had commented recently. I said, forget where it was, but anyways, I was talking about how I just hate the seat post stuff bag. Like I hate that saddlebag stuffing it. Like when I rode Western Canada, I had to put my spare tube and stuff at the bottom first. Then I'd stuff in my tent. Then I'd stuff everything around the tent. And then I could get a couple rolls in, tie it off, stick it in the harness because it was a Blackburn outpost, whatever. But every time I needed something, and like everything had to come off around the tent, everything, like it was just a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
And then somebody wrote to me, they're like, no, but there's some really good ones now where you have harnesses. I'm like, man, I had a harness. Like, yeah, I mean, it was way better than if you don't have a harness, because that would really make me mad if I had to like
if you had to
unhook
keep
buckles and take it out of the seat rails and everything every single time. Like, oh man, I'd lose my mind. But anyways, I clearly am still losing my mind over it. But I kind of like the. So I was just gonna say I kind of like the rack top bag. It's a really nice that you can just kind of stuff what you need into it. And I know Old Man Mountain makes those. I mean, Blackburn has one that's more for commuting or road type thing, and obviously Tailfin makes their kick-ass bag that's only costs you your half a mortgage.
Yeah, I like the I run the Old Mountain Elkhorn rack. I like that rack. It's it's got the top to it, and then it's got I think it's got the 4 bottle mount on the side of it. So
yeah, I just got one, so I'm looking forward to throwing it on the front of a bike.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed it, but like I kind of wanted like, I mean, obviously it probably would go like for a final thing. It probably would go Tailfin, but yeah, I think Old Mountain, Tailfin, they're kind of in the same realm, but I don't know, like that. I think it's the Ponderosa bag that Tailfin make, or that Old Mountain make. Like, I don't.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think it's not. I don't think it's as good as what Tailfin are making, but a lot of people are coming up with like.
I think just Tailfin has like a real sex appeal to it. Like it's just a sexy looking bag in the setup and the rack. It's like it's beautiful, right? Like it's
styled. So like
there's
everything's purposely put in its place. There's a couple small makers that are making like a stuffed sack style bag with like an exterior harness for racks, like a Old Mountain, like JP DeVary was making something like that. So you have like outside pockets, so you don't have to. So like, while I really enjoyed using the Old Mountain, but like every time, like taking the rack straps off to get the bag off, like it was kind of annoying. So something that was like, similar to like the Tailfin bag, right? That you can just open and you're not taking stuff off your rack.
Yeah. Have you come across any interesting resources in the last while, or anything you want to share about?
Yeah, so like this year, a guy previously rode the BC Epic with, he put me in, I don't know, made me aware of a website called Expert Voice. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of it. It's basically gives industry experts or industry workers. So if you're like a ski instructor, it gives you access to exclusive deals with brands. So
Expert Voice, engaging brand experts.
Yeah,
that one.
Yeah, it's great.
Okay.
So I bought a membership on, it was like a $15 a year membership on Canadian Mountain Biking Association or something like that. And so I just showed it to them, and like I got 20% off my carbon wheels with Noble.
What?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. And what else? There was like Ortlieb's on it. Big Agnes. I can get stuff on Big Agnes for like 50% off.
Okay.
Mountain Hardware, Outdoor Research.
That's cool.
There's loads of brands. Like it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I get deals on a few of those as it is, because I'm like ex-military and whatnot. But yeah, that's awesome. Like I'm just looking through their thing right now. That's a really cool. See, Garmin. I knew I invited you for a reason. What a resource!
You get 20% off at Garmin.
Oh, Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's even one of those things, like, even though I have like a bike shop that sponsors me, Garmin doesn't, I don't think they even give, like, I don't think a bike shop's markup is even 20% because their margins are so little, you know.
Yeah.
It's like, do you want to sell them and make sales and
Yeah.
draw people into the stores? Like, it's
Mhm.
it's not the biggest profit margins for Garmin products for companies out there. But
Yeah. So I don't know. Like, I mean, I probably would never have bought a set of carbon wheels without the
yeah,
20% off and getting it. And like, I would say that's probably one of the best upgrades I've did to my bike is the carbon wheels and then Onyx hubs on it. Like, I noticed a difference.
yeah,
And then
yeah. Carbon wheels are huge. Like, I was just writing a review of a bike recently, and I was like, you know what, like, one of the biggest upgrades, just changing the wheels. And I don't think it's so much the weight, because maybe it's 25% of the weight of the wheels, which is significant anyways. I mean, if you could drop 25% of anything, but I don't know, they're stiff in the right places. They don't worry about losing true, I guess, unless they snap on you.
yeah, and I mean, knock on wood, I haven't had any issue yet, but the guy that put me uh, in touch with the expert voice platform, like, he lives on Vancouver Island, and I think he only lives like 40 minutes from Noble, and like, they will continue to service his wheels, and like, they don't really ask for anything from him. And
Yeah,
Canadian company, and then you got a lifetime warranty. Like, so long as you don't do something dumb with them, they'll back you. So yeah.
yeah. That's awesome. I'd never heard of expert voice. I was going to say my resource is not nearly as cool, but I mean, it's kind of cool. But I did find out recently that Panorama Cycles now has on their website templates for frame bags, which is a really cool free resource to give out.
Yeah.
It just gives those DIY kit makers a chance to like try something and at least not screw it up when it comes to the sizing,
Yeah.
right? Like, so.
Do they have the original
And I was,
Torngat on it?
I don't know. I didn't check, but they might.
Yeah, that's my fat bike. Yeah.
Oh, is
Yeah.
it? You got Torngat?
Yeah, the steel one,
Not the Thai one.
No.
Yeah.
And my wife's got the Chic Shocks carbon, the first
Oh,
one.
no way.
Yeah, the first one. Yeah. Are you?
And then obviously you do whatever steps you want if you're gonna. I started to make a fat bike frame bag last year. Clearly, haven't finished yet. It's just like sewing machine just got folded up and then pile of shit in the bar area, and I was like, I'm gonna finish it before winter comes. But clearly now, well, winter hasn't really arrived here, anyways. But now I'm thinking like, well, should I finish this one I started, or should I just go download their template and start over and know it'll fit right?
That'll be a good series you can do with Ty. How to make a bikepacking bag
Yeah.
101.
Yeah. Well, I think we've done a couple of things, but I forget.
Yeah.
I gotta check through. But yeah, we've done a couple episodes. Yeah, man, that guy's so experienced. He does some really nice stuff. Yeah, Panorama's put those out there so that people can either, and I guess it could go two ways, right? One is you could be asking somebody to make you a bag, and you could say, and they could just go and access the templates, and you don't have to send cardboard cutouts or anything. And then you could tell them how you want it in what's the word I'm looking for? Customized, adding little tricks here and there, right? So whatever you want it. Yeah. That's very cool.
Yeah. There was one thing actually I forgot to mention. This squirrels.
What is
Squirrels
that?
nut butter. I'll leave the cap on so you don't have to see. But yeah, that's
the hairs.
Yeah, that's that's my new chamois cream. So I've been using that. I used that last year. And it's
How is it?
All natural. They're from Flagstaff, Arizona.
Okay.
It's got tea tree, peppermint. What else? Something else they have in there. Coconut oil, vitamin E. But yeah, like, if you have the ability to get
Works
it,
well.
yeah, I would highly recommend it. It's
I've been using what's that shit for cows?
bag bomb.
Bag bomb.
Yeah.
It's the only problem with it is it's a bit oily, so it's
Yeah.
like you put it on and just the bombs everywhere, man.
Yeah.
Like it's but otherwise not. It works well. And,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I
I was gonna say, so I did install electronic shifting
Right.
this past summer, and like you said, man, like there's just no more, because you're not pushing with your thumb, or like, I mean, obviously it's not the trigger finger issue when you're downshifting or anything. It's just it's that thumb press every time you want to shift up, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
Like it's just I picked up from Dismount in Toronto, GX Eagle AXS upgrade kit. And they had them on sale for like, I think it was $650.
Oh, wow.
I was like, and I'd been thinking about it, and it was like, this was like almost $300 off. And I was like, my wife and I were in Toronto. I was like, I got a detour to to Dismount and spend a whole shitload of money but I did, and so be it.
Yeah, like man, my hand after the BC Epic, like the next week at work, I couldn't even hold a cordless drill. Like I couldn't, like,
oh no way,
couldn't do a thing.
What are you using for grips on your handlebars?
SQ Labs grips. I'm gonna change to Ergon, I think, this upcoming year.
See, I was using Ergons, and I find it pushes on the palm of the thumb, right, like the ball of the thumb there.
Yeah.
And I get sore when I'm riding. And I was talking to Glenn at Brockton Cycling. He's like, yeah, man. He's like, I've switched to the Wolf Tooth Mega Fat Paws because they got so much cushion. Yeah. And that's what I was using on my fat bike. So I actually pulled them off the fat bike, and I threw them back on my mountain bike for the summer. And I actually really enjoyed those as well.
Okay. Yeah.
I found it was pretty good. I mean, better than the Ergons, and maybe, but then it could be a combination of, I was no longer shifting manually. I had electronic. So I don't know, maybe, making two changes isn't a very good test for which one's better, but
yeah, my worry with the Wolf Tooth is, like, I find even in the winter, like my hands sweat like crazy. So
if they get wet, man, they're
slippery.
Right?
So that would be my only worry. Yeah. But I mean, you see people, like now they put them on their aero bars, the Wolf Tooths, like they'll sleeve it on the.
Yeah, I've got a set on my aero bars. Yeah, somebody else did that, and I was like, that's a brilliant idea. So, of course, I stuck the one upside down, because it's the side that's slightly beveled, and now it looks stupid. And I'm like, maybe I'll fix it in the spring, whatever. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, of course, that's what I did. I recently also got my hands on the Redshift ArcLight Pro pedals. Yeah. So you know what the arc lights are, right? They're
like the little lights.
They got the red and white lights, and there's a little gyrometer or something. So they're always the red lights at the back, white lights in the front. And the idea is, as you're pedaling, you're creating a bigger movement of your lights, which will attract more attention from cars. Which would be great in Germany and France now that you're not allowed to having blinking lights on your bikes. Yeah. But anyways, the Pro pedals are the clip-in ones, and I've been waiting for like 2.5 years or 2 years or something to get the clip-in ones. I had the original, now they call them the street ones or whatever. They don't have the little screws or whatever, so that you get really good grip if you're riding flats. They're kind of cast into it. They're die cast or whatever.
They're just like little nubs.
So I have those. Yeah, just little nubs. I have those, and they're great for like just a commuter, like they're on my Bike Friday. But I was like, as soon as I knew they were coming with the Pro pedals, I was talking to my guy at Redshift, and I was like, oh man, I got to get a set. And then COVID happened, logistics got harder with COVID, and all of a sudden they had some production issues, and then there was shipping issues, and like finally, like in September, I got them, and they're great. Yep. I mean, they're just like a clip-in pedal, and I use them on my e-bike just because it's the time of the year. And I was like, you know what? It's really one more safety step.
Yeah.
Really big fan. Yeah. I love the ArcLight pedals. I know that he told me once, he's like, we're not recommending for like full on bike packing because they're not waterproof in the sense that like if you submerge them into
Gotcha.
a 4-foot deep puddle as you push your bike through something, I was like, yeah, well, I'm the kind of guy to probably pick my bike up over my head and get my whole body wet before the bike.
Yeah.
But yeah. So anyways,
So how does
yeah, I might try them out on the bike as well.
does the pedal, is it still like a platform shell and it has a cleat insert inside of it, or like how does that work?
Yeah, it's kind of neat the way it's designed. Like you have the SPD pedal and the shell that holds the lights, you can actually even remove it. So it just looks like a typical standard SPD pedal. Yeah. If you want to remove that, you can also attach in the clips, and they work on I guess Shimano, and is it Time that uses the same one as Shimano or Look? One of the two.
I think it's Look.
Time
has a different
Look.
Yeah.
Okay, it's Look, maybe Shimano and Look. Yeah. So yeah, you can they work with those clips, and you can also remove them if you want to use them as like for flats, and then you can screw in their little studs on your pedals, so you get the grips. But they say we don't recommend you use them together because if you're clipped in and then all of a sudden you can't twist sideways because the studs are gripping too well, that could be dangerous. So yeah. So I probably already lost the studs somewhere. I put them in a bag somewhere on one of the shelves in my garage, and now they're gone. But it's where I lose a lot of things somewhere in the garage.
I lose bike computers, so
What happened to it, really?
It just got buried on top of. I honestly thought I left it on top of my car and drove away with it, but I actually left it on my counter. I have a fold up, like bike workbench, so I can fold it down. And it was just buried under a bunch of shit. I was doing my.
So by then you got a Garmin, and are you really sad now about that?
No. I just like making fun of myself.
No.
Because I feel like
Did you give your wife the Wahoo?
I did.
She had her own.
She couldn't stand it. Like it's always beep.
Yeah, I told my wife I want to buy. I told her I want to get a new Garmin, and she's like, "Well, do I get your old one?" I'm like, "I guess it's nothing wrong. The 530, it's still a good device."
Yeah. So I put in a route for her to go from home to work because she was biking to work in the summertime, and I don't know, she would get off and it would start beeping at her, and she's like, I hate this thing.
Got pissed off at it.
So I just use my phone.
Do you use a radar on your bike?
No, but I feel like
the
the Garmin Varia radar. Yeah, no, I don't. But I feel like of all the things I've spent money on, that should have been the first thing, like for safety wise and everything.
My wife offered to buy me one. She was like, you know what? You should have one. Like you're riding every day, and like some of the roads I hear, like at nighttime, especially coming up into Chelsea because there's no street lights all of a sudden. As soon as you hit like the border of Chelsea, it's like there's no more street lights. And it's really dark. And she's like, I want you to have a Garmin radar. And I was like, well, it won't work because I don't have my Garmin on my e-bike. And then now I realize there's actually a phone app that you can have because I have a quad lock, so I could put my phone on the quad lock and I could have the radar app running. And so I was like, okay, honey, go buy me one.
Yeah. Like, I've heard, I've
do it.
I've ridden with people that have had it. So like just like literally like 2 minutes out my door, I'm on gravel country road, and the further south I go, the further I get into like oil leaf roads and stuff like that. So it's sometimes it's not the best place to be on a bike. And to be fair, like you're not expecting to see cyclists. I don't know if that's to be fair or not. I don't know, but
yeah. I think I'm going to get one. Like everything I read is, every time you look at a review and people say like, I never thought I'd need one of these, but once I got one, I was like, why have I not had one longer?
Yeah.
And I think I just saw that. I think it's Trek just came out with one as well.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I forget what it's called, but anyways, it's got like a longer, so it goes like 240 meters of detection.
Oh.
And so I was like, well, I don't even know if that's good or no. Is 140 not enough? I don't know, but whatever.
Yeah, I guess maybe.
I mean, I have none before, so now I have 0 meters. So I guess anything is better.
I guess it maybe just depends on how fast the car's traveling, maybe, and how quick you'll get detected. But
yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I'll probably get one though. But then, like, I don't know how useful it is bike packing, because if you only get like, I get 15 hours is probably enough if you just charge it when you stop somewhere, right? Just plug it in, make it part of your routine of charging everything, and it's just one more device. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
And I wonder if it's waterproof enough that you could have from your dynamo while you're running there all the time and just keeping it topped up.
Like, do you on your guys' rail trails out there? Like, is it shared use, like with quads, side by sides, ATV?
Sometimes, some places.
Yeah,
it depends. Like in Quebec, it's actually Ontario too. I wonder. See, the ones in Ontario, I don't think if it's been stone dusted, motorized vehicles aren't allowed. If it's still like, where you see 2 ruts from tires and it's like, there's stones everywhere and stuff, then they're allowed. But in the winter, they're all snowmobile trails. But in Ontario, you're allowed on them. You obviously put blinking lights on, and the Wendigo Fat Bike Ultra is on the rail trail there. But in Quebec, you're not allowed, and you're not allowed to, like in the summer. So there's a rail trail that goes north from here, and you do see quads on them sometimes. I don't think they're supposed to be necessarily on that section. But yeah, because I think in Quebec it's more strict. Like bicycles are not allowed on quad trails. Cross country skiers are not allowed on skidoo trails. They're much more anal about it. Yo, welcome back. Second time.
Sorry, bro.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, it happens. I don't know, dropouts and stuff. I'm also in the countryside, and I'm using one of these stupid things that you plug in your wall in the house, and then the Wi-Fi, the internet is kind of sent through the electrical wires out of the box in this podcast studio because it's in my garage.
Yeah.
So sometimes if the weather's not good, man, I can't record a podcast because it's. I think next year I'm gonna bury like a cable from the house to the garage and run it properly and put a router in the garage, and then I'll be laughing.
You just gotta get Starlink to sponsor the podcast.
And then on the TV on the back of this wall that you don't see, I'll just be able to sit there on my couch and watch my Leafs games all alone with all my friends. Right?
Is there a strong contingent of Maple Leaf fans in your area?
Ottawa, surprisingly, I mean, it's, because Ottawa's, I mean, we say it's a newer team, right? They've been around since the early 90s.
Yeah.
And before that, it was all either Toronto or Montreal, right? So you had all I'd say the French people cheered for Montreal, the English people were cheering for Toronto, and then now there's still a ton. Like if you go to an Ottawa game, home game, half the people in the stands are Toronto. Like
that's like Edmonton. Those games, they'll be more like the Leafs, Habs, Bruins, Red Wings. You'll have like good half amount of numbers.
No way, huh?
Yeah.
Not surprising because Edmonton is like been around a long time and they've done really well. Like especially, I mean, obviously in the Gretzky era, but
yeah, I think though too, like a lot of out of like there's a lot of people here from out east too, right? And, I mean, when my mom and her brother were growing up, like it was Leafs or Habs in the house. So
okay, is your mom from Ontario or
no? They're from like they grew up just outside of Edmonton in Wetaskiwin. So my grandpa and my uncle were Habs fans, and my mom was like could never let her live it down, but she cheered for the Leafs. It's like
probably just to spite the Habs fans.
Yes, that was it. But yeah.
I told my wife, I was like, you know, like as long as like I don't care, like we're not going to live in Toronto because it's just too expensive, and it's like, why would you?
Yeah.
I'm like, when we were moving to Canada, I was like, if we're going to live in Toronto, let's
Mhm.
just go to Vancouver right away and like be rich poor there, right?
Yeah.
Like, or live in Ottawa. It's a good city. It's like I'm from here. She's got friends here, anyways, and so this is what we chose. But I told her you're not allowed to cheer for Senators. Like, if you start to like hockey, I don't care about anything, but you cannot cheer for the Sens.
Yeah. It's more like we got a new project on the go, and there's one of the electrical supervisors, like contractor supervisors for our company. He was wearing a senator's hat, and I was just more surprised. I'm like, are you not like? Do you actually
Are you
like?
actually
Because
a Sens fan?
I've actually never met a Senators fan.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Um, have you heard of? I know I had like on my thing like opinions, hot takes. Strava is changing the way they allow other companies, like outside companies, to access. I think it's like the metadata of your workouts, so like all the metrics.
No.
So now, if you're using like if you were pairing Strava to Training Peaks,
Yeah.
they won't be able to access. I don't know, power data and heart rate data and all these things from your workouts.
Oh, really?
And that's, yeah, I was reading about it, and it was, I don't remember all the details, but it seemed like a huge thing. Like,
Mhm.
because like even Garmin, a lot of people download on Garmin when you're doing your rides,
Yeah.
automatically uploads to Strava. And then if you're using like Training Peaks, it would go from training Strava to Training Peaks, right? So you wouldn't have it set to Garmin to Training Peaks. And
Right.
would
Yeah.
now you can access your own information that you actually uploaded. So
What's their?
um, what's the reasoning? I have no
Mm,
idea. Like it was like the article, the whole entire article was like, what is going on here? Like,
Yeah.
obviously,
Are they
who
trying to
knows?
become the next Training Peaks? Is that their maybe? I
I don't know,
guess.
but you think like in my mind is like you'd say if you're going to do that, you'd say, okay, anybody who's using a free account,
Yeah.
we're no longer going to offer this. So now buy premium, make
Yeah.
sales, right? Like if you're doing
Yeah.
that, it's for the bottom dollar. You have investors or whatever. Now they're going to be happy, but I don't know.
Mm.
Because I was
Yeah.
actually thinking of subscribing to Strava this next year because I haven't been.
Mhm.
And I just used a free one, and I was like, what's the point now? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to get anything more from it than I think what I do for free. So
Yeah. I don't even know why. There was a while where I was paying for the paid subscription, but I wasn't doing anything with it. I personally feel like the route building in Strava is terrible in comparison to Ride with GPS.
yeah,
And then I feel like Ride with GPS has done a better job of making it more like community. And then Strava is just like the
Mm.
Facebook for or the Instagram of like
yeah,
working out, right? Like people are just on there for the kudos.
yeah.
So,
Last year for the summit, we had because Ride with GPS helps out the podcast, and so they gave us some free memberships to give out at the summit.
okay. Yeah.
And I did one of them as an early bird draw for people who had purchased tickets by a certain
Mm.
date. And the girl at one was like, "Oh, well, thank you, but I don't need it. I use Strava Premium and pretty happy with that." I said, "Are you sure?" I'm like, okay. And then later on at the summit, after she saw something about it, and she was like, "You know what? Kind of regret saying no."
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, that sucks." Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
oh well, say love you.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw that. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good.
I was gonna say I don't know if you saw that Megan is planning to do the
Oh, yeah.
three big races next year: the Silk Road, the Atlas, and the Hellenic.
Yeah. Yeah. That's, I
It's gonna
mean,
be exciting.
yeah. If anyone, like, I wouldn't be surprised from her. So, yeah. And I think she'll do a great job on them.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna
Hmm.
be it's nice when it's like I say local, but she's on the other side of the country. But since we're friends, and I feel like it's she's lived at my house basically. Um, it's nice, it's kind of cool that to know that face is going to be out there taking it on, and
Yeah, for sure.
that's very
So
cool.
she'll probably
Another
do,
really cool thing is a friend of mine. He has three boys. I think it's three boys, maybe four. he's planning to do the same 3 races, one every year with a different, or one every 2 years maybe, as his boys grow up, because they're all like loving
cool.
biking and bikepacking.
Yeah.
So he's going to do one of them with the oldest one, and then as the other one gets a little bit older,
Yeah.
do the next one. And then I was like, that is such a cool father son. I mean, could be daughter too. Maybe his daughter will be into it later on, and she'll want to do one. But I was like, what a cool race to do with a kid. Like, hopefully they're old enough that they can take on the challenge, and just super.
He's gonna do he's gonna do the race, or he'll tour.
Yeah, they're planning to. I think his goal is to race it with his kid.
Wow, that'll be cool. Yeah, I was looking actually today because I was so busy at work. I was looking at the Pan-Hellenic mountain race, because you can still sign up for it, but
for the Hellenic one.
Yeah.
When is it?
I have a couple. I'm actually, I didn't sign up for it because of the summit.
Are you coming to the summit?
I would like to. Yeah.
Oh, man, that would be so cool.
Yeah. But it's like late May, I think, is the Pan.
Okay, because I know the Atlas is in February, and I wasn't sure when the Hellenic one was. I think May sounds about right, because I know I think Theo was there last year at that time, and then and then August. The Silk Road is literally the only one I could ever do.
Yeah.
While working as a teacher.
Yeah, and it would be cool, because I was listening to in preparation for this. I was doing homework, but I was listening to you and Carl's last one, and you were talking about doing Central Asia bikepacking, and it'd be really cool, like for you being fluent in Russian, like
that'd be really fun. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm fluent anymore. My wife was talking about that today. She's like, "You're not fluent though. Like you don't actually speak Russian." I was like, I do. Like, she's like, "Bull, I've never heard you say a thing." I'm like, why would I just randomly start talking Russian around you? I'm like, what would be the point of that? I'm like, I was like, it's very much like when the first year and a half we dated, you didn't know I spoke French because I just never spoke French. And I just say, yeah, I speak French.
Yeah.
But I would love to go cycle. I'd love for the Russia war to be over and get to calm down, because I'd love to take Seema to St. Petersburg and meet some of my friends there. Like, that would be an awesome trip. And I'd also love to cycle across Central Asia. I think that'd be absolutely bucket list thing. Funnily enough, a few years back when Chiru helped me out with a cost on a tie frame, the owner was talking about how he wanted to go ride across and what's the island? How do I forget it? Anyway, it's one of the massive islands on the east of Russia, and he wanted to do this bikepacking trip across it. And I was like, oh, I speak Russian. I should come. But never obviously happened. And I mean, the reality is I'm not going to fly all the way to the far east of Russia to go on a small bikepacking trip that, I mean, some people might, but I can't afford that. That'd be awesome if you could come, man. I'll pick you up from the airport.
It's got we got 3 shutdowns at work next year. And
what does that mean?
Like, so the three plants I work at, so every 4 to 5 years, we have a planned maintenance shutdown. So we shut the plant down,
fully, no operations, right?
No operation.
And then they have like special teams come in to do checks on all the equipment. Is that what happens?
Yeah. So we have thousands of these plants all over the place. So pretty aware of like how things will wear out, and the life expectancy on certain things. So like we have a big furnace, so we have to do refractory work like basically every 4 years. So replace like the ceramics in the furnace, and then we have reformer tubes, like basically the burner tubes. Got to replace those every 4 years. We have to replace catalyst, so that's like chemical like in our reactor vessels that allow us to like create certain compounds. We got to replace that
So
because
it's just a
there's
lot of stuff, right?
yeah, and then there's control valves, and then like aged equipment, like stuff becomes obsolete, right? And
Okay.
so if you don't, if
So
you
what does
can't
that
work
mean when
on
it shuts down? Like then you get some time off, or
it, no,
no,
it's
you
like
work overtime?
work straight.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
quite the
and
opposite.
yeah, the exact opposite. So then,
Uh,
and then we got to start the plant up, and then there's always issues. So it's usually 6 to 8 weeks of like,
oh wow,
yeah, 12 to 14 hour days, like basically nonstop. It's just enough
brutal.
time
That's when
off.
you get your new. That's just that's how you get new bikes, huh?
That's how we, yeah. um, yeah. So then we got that happening April, May, and then we have another one happening in the fall. And then
Okay,
on top of that, we're building the big blue hydrogen project for like basically Canada, Alberta, and
okay,
we got stuff happening with that on top too. So
that's
yeah.
wild.
Mhm.
Um, yeah. Oh man. Bucket list goals. You got anything big? Thing something that's
My dream trip would be
sure.
the transatlantic way. That's in Ireland.
Is that the island one, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's the basically the northernmost point on the west coast of Ireland to the southernmost point on the west coast of Ireland. So
I think
that would be a
I think Trevor Brown from S Kit magazine did it last year.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
cool.
or this past year, maybe it was this
Yeah.
spring, maybe. Yeah, it looks awesome. It looks
Yeah.
like it's like 1,500 kilometers or something like that, if I
Yeah.
remember.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah,
wet. That's the thing I'm not excited
that's what
for.
it sounds like. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
um
I'm still on the thought of like I want to do a year off from teaching. Like
oh yeah.
I talked to my wife, said I'm going to put in the application. It's due by February, I think.
Mhm.
So I'll put in the application for like work the next 2 years. I think I get like 2/3 of my salary.
Mhm.
And then the third year, I would get that 2/3 that were saved up. So I
Oh,
still get
cool.
paid.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
And so I can
Oh, that's
afford
okay. Yeah.
to spend. I won't be able to afford it, but I'm going to just go and do stuff. And
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So, anyways, yeah, I'm still kind of debating is like, do you go on like a crazy long, trip of a lifetime, the dream trip, and just be gone for like half a year or the better part
Yeah.
of a year? But that's kind of hard when you have kid and
Mhm.
wife and a dog.
Yeah.
Or do I do like small trips? Like, I don't know, man, I'm like small trips, like around a month, like
Yeah.
Tour Divide,
Mhm.
maybe Eastern Divide.
Yeah.
I don't know, just things like that.
Mhm.
I don't know. I have to figure that out, but yeah, it's just and then I can come home and do some riding and trips with the baby or spend time at home and probably likely just veg,
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
fatten up again before you go on the next adventure.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Fatten up for 3 years, the next 3 years, and do it
well,
all
yeah,
over
as long
again.
as I keep biking, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Anyways, yeah. So that's kind of my goal. I don't know exactly what that would entail, but that's definitely like the bucket list is before I'm 50. So I think
yeah,
I'd be like 47, 48 at that time,
yeah.
or 48 turning 49. I think, no, probably 47 turning 48.
Mhm,
And just give me a chance to do that. I don't know.
mhm. Yeah, I would like
Yeah.
to I I mean, it's also in my plans for next year, but, like, also bucket list is, like, attending the Lost Elephant and, like, showing up for that.
Yeah.
Just because like, the community that's all involved with it and everything like that, and my intention the last 2 years of doing it and not doing it, but yeah,
Yeah.
that, and I think that I've had a lot of people say like that race or event or whatever you want to call it has really set them up well for like doing things like Colorado Trail or even Tour Divide, things like that. So yeah, do that.
Yeah. I feel like from what I've heard, the Lost Elephant would definitely set you up well for some of like is it the Colorado or is it Arizona? Which is
And
the
Arizona. Well,
really? Yeah, they're both pretty
Arizona's, yeah,
gnarly. Yeah.
yeah.
So,
I mean,
like, as
and
opposed to something that's more heavily like gravel, like
mhm,
the Lost Elephant will prepare you for just getting your ass whooped for
yeah,
1,000 miles or
mhm,
whatever it is.
yeah. The like the AZT. I mean, I'm like it's terrifying, but I think it's really cool. Like the idea of like putting your bike on your back and climbing the Grand Canyon. There's something
Yeah.
really cool about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that'd be fun. I mean, not necessarily fun, but it'd be
Mhm.
definitely on the bucket list. How many
Yeah.
people say they got to do that?
Yeah. But even like following it, like it's interesting because I probably wouldn't have said like I don't necessarily think there would have been a lot of things that were like super high on my list, like much outside of Western Canada. But then following like Trip Longer's like journey across the Great Northern
Yeah.
Bikepacking route and a lot of the places they saw like in Eastern Canada, like I'm like, oh yeah, like that would be pretty
There's a
cool.
lot here, man.
That's
Yeah,
yeah,
there's a lot in Canada just to see.
yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, actually, we're thinking of. I guess it's kind of an upcoming plan. Where we're talking about this summer, actually, finally, going to Europe on a family bike
Oh,
trip.
nice.
I don't know if it's called
Yeah.
bike packing or bike touring, but
Hmm.
um, yeah. So it'll be my wife, baby, and I, and
Well, that'd be awesome.
maybe I would like to bring the dog and have a second chariot type thing for the dog to chill. And she likes to
Hmm.
run and stuff too. I mean, as she gets in better shape, she'll probably spend more time running, but
Yeah,
probably won't happen. But then we got to figure out who can watch the dog. But
yeah,
yeah, it looks like the month of August we're pretty clear. I think my wife said she could take probably 3 weeks. I'm going to try to convince her to take 4.
yeah, yeah.
And I was telling her we could fly into like Stockholm,
Oh yeah,
cycle down the country, or even mix a bit of training depending on our timeline.
yeah.
And then I have some friends in the south of Sweden that we can visit and stay with,
Well, that'd be cool.
and then go through Denmark, maybe make our way to Berlin, which would be, for her it'd be kind of cool to see these capital cities, so like Stockholm, Copenhagen,
Hmm.
Denmark, or sorry, Berlin,
Hmm.
and then make our way over towards Belgium where we have some more friends,
Yeah, yeah, that'd be cool.
and
That'd
then
be
fly
really
home from Brussels. So 2
yeah.
different flights, and
Hmm.
and since I'm ex-military, I get 4 suitcases on Air Canada. So obviously we'd book it with Air Canada
Yeah, yeah. Nice.
and put all the bikes in boxes and get those shipped for free and just pay the handling fee, whatever that is,
Yeah,
and yeah, so that would be the plan there. But
yeah,
as usual, it is completely in the air, and
yeah,
I don't know if it'll happen, but hopefully it does.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's
If
like you
not,
start.
if not though, I told her, I said, if it doesn't, I'm finishing my cycling from Winnipeg to Newfoundland.
Ah, yeah,
Probably on the road. I want to do it as like I've
yeah,
enjoyed getting back on paved road a bit this past summer.
yeah, yeah.
I was like, man, I forgot how fun it is to just fly sometimes and just like lay out big watts and just ride.
Hmm.
So I mean, I like gravel, I like bike packing, but sometimes being on the road is also enjoyable.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and then you could end up getting sent in these big crazy loops. At least the road sometimes is a little bit more direct.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, that's it. Like imagine if you just the Winnipeg to Newfoundland section of the Great Northern Bikepacking route was probably
yeah,
like more than across all of Canada on pavement.
yeah, yeah, probably.
So yeah. What about you? Any so next year maybe Lost Elephant?
Yeah. So, I would like so I would have liked to have gone to Fat Pursuit, but that's not
Yeah,
that's not
that'd
going
be
to
cool.
happen. That's like next week, I think.
Is it that soon? Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
It's in Montana,
and
is it?
Idaho.
Idaho? Okay.
Yeah, just on the. I don't know if it's in Teton National Park, if it's on just the border of it.
Okay.
But that's something I've kind of had earmarked for a while. Then the team that does the Lost Elephant, they kind of teamed up with another guy who does have a good ride or good ride. It was gravel ride in Chilliwack, so they kind of
Okay.
joined together to make a winter ultra called Cold
Oh,
Ride
cool.
that they're
Old
doing
ride?
in
Nice.
yeah in Cranbrook. So there's like two two distances. I think one's like a 60K and one's like 130K.
Okay.
That's February 8th, but I'm
Nice.
coaching my daughter's soccer now this
Oh,
year, so that's
there's
our
that.
last. Yeah, so not going to be doing that. So I'd like to before the winter season's out, get a 200-kilometer fat bike ride in.
Yeah.
So that's something
Like
high on my list.
multi-day or
Uh,
completely pound it out into one big ride and just suffer.
yeah, maybe one big ride or
Okay.
do an overnight
Yeah.
sort of thing, because I didn't get out over the holidays here on an overnight,
Mm.
which I have wanted to do. It's just not
Yeah.
making
Same here.
it. Um, yeah, like I mentioned, try to make it out for the summit. I think that would be really cool.
That'd be
Uh,
awesome, man. It'd be so good to have you here.
yeah, and then I really want to put the BC Epic to bed. Um, so I don't know. We'll see how that all works out. The logistics are tough just because it's like a point A to point B. So
Yeah.
I don't want to go putting that on the family again. And then
You could just yo-yo it.
yeah, yeah, because I can't even do it one way. So why don't we do it there and back?
Is that
Perfect
was your?
sense.
Does that feel like your setback though of 2024 was not
Uh,
completing the epic, or is it just another learning step and figuring things out?
I think now I think it's just like a it's another step, but I think
Yeah.
at the time it was a huge setback
Yeah.
because it was like the first time I really dedicated a lot of time to something, and I
Yeah.
sacrificed things too to try to get this goal. And I think that's kind
Yeah.
of the crux of the problem, is like not necessarily like just slowly kind of removing all the fun out of it, and then next thing you know, like you're in the like it's like day one and you're getting dumped on by rain, and you're looking
Yeah.
around and you're like, why didn't I bring my tent with
Why-
me? What was I thinking? Now I'm gonna squeeze into this turkey bag.
Yeah, that sucks, man.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
but
I
I
think
mean, you can
there's
talk that
nothing
up to
worse than a
learning.
bivy bag, especially if it's an e-bivy bag.
Yeah.
Is just if it's bad weather. Like, oh,
Yeah, well, and then I took like my rain jacket and tried to like put twigs up to like make a bit of a tarp over my head, and
how'd
then
that
that
work out
just
for you?
filled up with water and on my head. So
Just a
yeah,
shower,
yeah, yeah, it was terrible.
or more like a bath.
Mhm.
No, I
Yeah,
know.
so
I know. Like when I did my own the Canadian Shield there, I was riding the XL, and I remember when I messaged and I was like, man, I just kind of want to go home to my little girl. Like I'm over it. Like
yeah, yeah,
and a friend of ours said, is it you know think to 3 months from now, like will you be okay with it? Like don't think about
right,
the now, but think about later, right? And
yeah, yeah,
so I guess it kind of plays into the same thing. Is at the time
yeah,
it really sucks and it's a hard decision, and but if you look at the long picture, the long game, whatever, it wasn't a big deal. And I was like, no, I think 3 months from now I'm okay with it, cutting my ride short because I had ulterior motives, and yeah, just for my own good, right?
yeah, yeah,
And I was like, that was such a deep question to throw out like that. And I was like, oh,
yeah, yeah.
I just have to
I've
keep that
never
in
thought
mind
it
for the
like that.
future.
Yeah. Well, it's like that thing that's like, oh, there's for every valley there's a high, and for every uphill there's a downhill. But like sometimes you completely forget that, and
Yeah, yeah.
you don't realize. And like, yeah, it's interesting. Like during the epic, I think I stopped under a tree because it was raining, and there was two families that were bike packing, and their kids were all around the same age as my daughter, and I'm just like, I should be doing this with her and my wife,
Yeah.
like why, like this not as enjoyable, not nearly. So yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
mean, I
think it's
still like
hard
to
to
push
like
myself, but
it's hard to figure out that a race versus slow it down and enjoy
yeah,
the moments with others, right?
mm,
Like I think I had mentioned, like since I wasn't racing that route, I wasn't out to like push myself to the limit. It would have been really nice to have people with me.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
And so I think now, like moving forward, is I have to just make that distinction. Like, is this something I'm going to like? Am I out to challenge myself and give it my all, and just let the suck?
Mm-hmm.
Or am I out to like just, make the most of the time and enjoy it? And
Yeah.
if that's the case, then change the adventure and keep that in mind and make that the priority, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we both been in there, right? Like,
Yeah.
quote unquote, failing on a big ride.
Yeah.
And I've done it a couple times now. It's hard. It sucks.
Yeah.
And yeah, but for 2025, I mentioned it in the last, I think, Unpacking Bikepacking I did, but I'm planning to randonneur the calendar. Something I heard somebody say.
Wow.
Do a 200-kilometer ride every month for the year.
Oh.
So
yeah.
I don't know if actually the first one will be on like the 2nd of January.
Nice.
My plan is if the weather cooperates, because it's been really wet and rainy the last couple of days and all the snow's kind of disappearing. But I'm planning to go ride a big loop on the fat bike, but I don't know if it'll be 200K. So I don't know, but maybe I'll figure it out. So if I leave from home and I ride across the city and I get to I don't know, we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah, the goal would be to try to get 200K in with an overnighter.
Yeah.
And then February will be the fat bike race. So that'll be my 200K.
Oh, right. The Wendigo, right?
March, it'll be getting nicer out. Yeah. By March, it'll be improving. So I should be able to get the 200K on a gravel bike, hopefully.
Yeah.
And make things quicker.
Nice.
But yeah, it's kind of like, I thought that's a nice way to get 2,400K of riding in a year minimum.
Yeah. Yeah.
Plus another 10,000 or so commuting. And
yeah, you'll be able to see some cool, like there's some of the gravel folks in Alberta that kind of stitch together some pretty cool routes, that areas that I haven't been around to in years. So I think I might try venturing out into some of those. They haven't been ridden, so sometimes you got to be careful with that. And
yeah. And I know we mentioned the setback. Any triumphs of 2024? I guess we can.
Haven't had any kids quit on me soccer yet, so that's pretty
Hey,
good.
there you go. Have you guys been winning, or it's been just fun?
Oh, we don't keep track of scores, Chris.
Oh, there's no scoring.
Everybody's a winner.
Everybody's a winner, right? I forgot. I'm a teacher. I know that.
Yeah.
Actually, no. I coached the badminton team. We're out to crush the opponents.
Yeah. It's funny because like the big main focus from Canada Soccer was like, because there's such a decline in girl sport at a certain age.
Okay.
But they're like, yeah, so you keep it as fun as possible, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, so we do a half an hour of like practice and a half an hour game with the other team that we share the field with. And then it's interesting because we're not keeping score as coaches or whatever, because we're on the field, but all of the girls are keeping score 100%. They all know how many goals they've scored, their other team scored, and that because we will rotate goalie, and they're all very they have no problem telling their own teammates how many goals they've let in when they've played goalie. So it's interesting. I don't know, it's funny.
Yeah, I think it's I don't know. I think I honestly, as an educator, and I don't know, I think somebody somewhere writes a PhD paper that says we should no longer keep score.
Yeah.
And so somebody in politics is like, the next person takes this and runs with it because they're like, I'm going to make a name for myself as a person who stopped scoring.
Mm-hmm.
And whether it's anything, like integrated classrooms or things, like some of the stuff that goes on just doesn't work. And it's like somebody somewhere wrote a paper that said, this is what we should do.
Mm-hmm.
And it's broken. Like Canadian education is kind of broken. And so, hey, whatever. I'll probably lose my job now. But so I think, I don't know, like we play a gym sports at school and they know the score, man. They will know that they're like, and they'll pick their own teams. And it's really funny to watch like grade 5s and 6s pick teams. Cause if you ask grade 6s to pick teams, they will like, if you have 2 grade 6 captains, they will pick the best players as we alternate boy, girl picking, just so it makes it fair. If you ask a grade 5, they'll pick their friends no matter how good or bad they are. And it's
it's like
sometimes you watch these 2 teams play each other and you're like, oh, what have we done?
Yeah.
But they'll be like, no, it's 20-3. And I'm like, no, it's 20-4. They're like, no, it's 3. I'm like, I don't care. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, It's 20. Like, you guys have destroyed them. Congrats. Like, no mercy. Anyways, man. Anything else? Anything I forgot to talk about, or you want to chat about?
No, I think that's about it.
Yeah, and what a great way to end 2024 by having Mike Lowry on the podcast.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, I hope you had fun. I hope it was.
I'm glad you had a chance to talk to me.
Yeah, I'm just like I've never talked to you before.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'm going to end this recording, and you don't have to hang up. We can shoot the shit for a bit more, and yeah. So thanks, man, and hey,
yeah,
Happy New Year.
You as well. Happy New Year.